Worst take, man. This is a popular segment on this show,
like
Dr. Phil, man. A popular segment of the show. And on worst take, we go around the NBA landscape and podcast sphere and react to the Knick takes that are out there, of which there are many and a lot of bad ones. So on this episode, Stephen A. Smith, the new $20 million man. He's been everywhere. He's all over the place, making himself be heard. He reacted to the controversy between Mikal Bridges and Tom Thibodeau. So I'm going to play the soundbite. I'm going to play the exchange between Stephen A. and Big Perk, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. All right, so here's Stephen A. This is courtesy of Worst Take. First Take, actually, on Worst Take. Here's Stephen A. starting it off. Here we go.
Tom Thibodeau is in trouble. He's in a world of trouble. I don't give a damn that the New York Knicks are 6-1 in overtime games. I don't care that Mikal Bridges, but so, of course, because I'm a diehard Knicks fan and he won the game last night. Molly, Big Perk, prior to the game, Mikal Bridges revealed he had a private meeting with Tom Thibodeau about the starters playing too many minutes and the bench playing too little.
All right, I'm going to pause it here because he basically explains Bridges' quote and he explains Tibbs' quote. So I'm going to pick it back up to his thoughts on it. Here we go.
Player that the Knicks sent 5 picks away for to bring to New York to pair with the superstar for the team, Jalen Brunson, his former teammate at Villanova, okay, saying something opposite that the coach is saying when everybody and their mother knows that Bridges is right. And here's where Bridges has the credibility. Molly, Perk can testify to this. He's one of the Iron Men of the league. He's always playing. He doesn't miss games, and he doesn't play minimal minutes. And Perk, when? Because we know I got a whole bunch of, I know I do NBA Countdown with you, but I got a lot of stuff to do, okay? I'm not on the NBA every moment of every day like you are. Big Perk, when have we ever heard Mikal Bridges complain about anything, let alone minutes? That's not the same page. That's not a good look for the New York Knicks. And if you got to choose between a player and the coach, under these circumstances, when you're looking at players being worn out, Mikal Bridges ain't say that for himself, y'all. He's speaking for the team. And Tom Thibodeau says it didn't happen? That's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign.
Yeah, but that's in Tom Thibodeau's defense, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said in his interview to Mikal Bridges' comments? He basically pointed out that when you look at the top guy on their team that's playing the most minutes, I believe it was Jalen Brunson. I think it was. Okay. He's knocking at the door. He's top 20 in the league. And then he pointed out that his wings, yes, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, if you look over the last month and a half or so, their minutes have went down to 36 minutes a game. And he also talked about the parent and why OG and Mikal Bridges play so many minutes, because they're quote unquote elite wing defenders. So if you're playing against a Jason Tatum or playing against a LeBron James or Jaylen Brown, and those guys are playing 40 minutes, 9 times out of 10, the coach are going to match those minutes. You have to.
All right. So that was Stephen A. and that was Big Perk. So let's tackle this in 3 parts. First, Stephen A.'s take. Is Tibbs in trouble? Did you think this was a big deal, an indictment on Tom Thibodeau in terms of his tenure with this team? What do you think about that?
No, I think Tibbs is safe. They knew what they were getting when they got Tibbs. I believe this was really just Mikal Bridges advocating for the bench, as well as advocating for himself. To get some rest, and he probably thinks that he might be able to perform better if he's not running, guarding the best player or guarding point guards, because he's the one, as you said, taking up that assignment. He's guarding that player, and then has to come back on the other end and be a threat. So I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I think guys got to be careful with how they word things. He could have just kept that in house. He probably could have went to Tibbs again. he probably didn't have to go that deep into what he thinks should happen, and just, maybe he said it to Tibbs in passing. That's how I see it in my head. If I don't really look at Tibbs as a liar, I hope he wouldn't do that to one of his players. I don't see like Mikal Bridges knocking on his door, sitting down. They're both in the office. He has a conversation specifically about that, and then now Tibbs says we never had that conversation. He might have like fudged it a little and be like, we spoke about it briefly, maybe something like that. So maybe he did say it in passing. Maybe he said it in a huddle. Maybe he said it, but I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I think Mikhail mentioned it. I don't think Thibodeau thought that it was that serious, that it was going to be a national topic. So yeah, I think world of trouble is a little too strong.
Yeah, I do think that is, Stephen A. just Stephen A. and things. I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I agree with you 100% that this organization knows what they were getting into when they signed up for it. The minutes, the performance of the players, how they're doing, from the top down, they're locked in. They're paying attention. So it's not like, they're just letting Tibbs do Tibbs and everybody's just standing off of the sides. No, everything that he's doing is being monitored. From the performance of the players, the performance of the team, to the minutes. They went out there and got one of the best sports medicine personnel from the Dallas Mavericks. I believe his name was Casey Smith. He came with high regard. This was a hire from the top, above Leon that came in here, from what I was told. So they're in lockstep in terms of, managing the players, their health, their well-being, and also in terms of what the coach is doing. I do, should he have kept it in-house? Yeah, I agree. He seems like a guy that's a bit more open and maybe not really understanding the nature of the New York media in terms of how they'll, put things and how it could kind of get you in trouble. So maybe he'll learn from that going forward. I agree with you in that he was advocating for himself and he knows his body best. So Tibbs should take heed to what he's saying, because this guy knows his body. He wants to keep himself fresh. But also in that article, he spoke about, or what you would think, he kind of alluded to some frustration with his role in the offense. And I think that's also something that Tibbs should take heed to, because, look, this is a big investment that you made here. And as I said earlier, it's going to be on Tibbs, Brunson, and Mikal to figure out how to optimize his impact on this team when you have so many mouths to feed and so many guys that need the basketball in their hands. So I don't necessarily see friction between player and coach as a bad thing. We've seen it throughout the history of this league, and how teams who, on their ascent to the top, I think it's needed. I like a little adversity for this team for guys to grow. You know what I mean? You're an owner in team sports. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Thibodeau has tough skin, so he could take that. It didn't sound like it was anything, that everybody knows this already about Tibbs. Like, we didn't find anything out that was new. I think the media loved it because they were like, oh, see, the players weren't saying anything about it. Most players just want to play, want to be out there. And so they're not going to say anything. But, now that they have a player to latch it onto, they could stir the pot and make it look like it's something more than it is. But it's what you sign up for when you agree to become a New York Knick. It's he's an Iron Man. He's never missed a game. He plays at a high level for a lot of minutes. He's I would say I think Mikal Bridges also has tough skin. He's a Philly guy, right? As well, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, they're gonna say what you mean what you say. At the end of the day, Tibbs is gonna do what he's gonna do. I believe it's always good to get your opinion out there and see what happens with it. I think only good can come from this. Maybe they'll split the difference, and hopefully the Knicks will also see that there's certain games coming up where perform better, so that you can give the bench the opportunity to come in a little earlier.
Yeah.
But even with that, they will be up 30 and we'll still see starters in the fourth quarter. I'm like, do you guys know what could happen in 1 minute, as you saw in the overtime game? But I don't think it's I don't think it's going to be an issue for us going forward. I only think it'll make us stronger. As you said, this is good for the team. Probably something we needed.
To me, man, the pressure on Tom Thibodeau is not going to be what players complaining. It's going to be how these guys fare in the playoffs this year, and if they don't meet expectations, the seat's going to get hotter and hotter just naturally. Those are just expectations that come with the investments that you make in the roster and the expectation that the coach that you have can maximize the talent and help them win. And in sports, the easiest thing to change when you're looking for a change is the head coach. You know what I mean? And so James Dolan already went on the Roommates podcast saying that, look, this team, as far as the big moves, they're pretty much locked in, at least for now. You could take it at surface level, but at least for now, they're pretty much locked in. And so when push comes to shove, I would say that by next year, if they're not on a good track and pacing well as a true championship contender, I think he will be on the hot seat, and they'll look to make a change to find the guy who can take this team to the next level.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I love Tibbs, but sometimes you can lose the locker room, and if you feel like they hit their ceiling and they're not getting better, like one of the I want to say it's the worst take. It's probably the take that made me feel kind of hurt my soul a little bit when DeMarcus Cousins was like, it's like we put
It's a college
a
team.
championship college team together. I was like, yo, I ain't gonna front. It made me think a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it was a little disrespectful.
Sure.
But I think sometimes you need to hear something like that to kind of look in the mirror and see like, okay, where are we lacking? Like why signature wins? Why is it not even close in signature games?
Yeah.
Why are we getting embarrassed? Why does it look like we are the JV team playing against the varsity when we play against those three teams, which is Boston, OKC, and Cleveland? And Cleveland came out of nowhere. I'm just like, really? Like I didn't have them as my top 4 team in the East, but it's undeniable that they're a different team than they are. So that's encouraging too. As the eternal optimist, I'm like, hey, that could be us. Like even before they added DeAndre Hunter, they had that same team that we beat. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well, I think a big addition who they didn't really, it wasn't really an addition, but he was hurt. Ty Jerome. That boy Ty Jerome was balling out. He was balling out. And he was kind of just sitting in the cut injured. He didn't play last year. And he's been, man, a world beater. He's definitely most improved candidate. And then the Hunter, you got those two guys. They were teammates at UVA. Hunter, man, off the bench, to me, he's 6th man of the year. And that just makes him even stronger.
Yep. But yeah, back to that Tibbs comment. I don't think he's a world of trouble. I think it's good for the team. I think Mikal Bridges is going to build off of this performance, hopefully. And, ultimately, it's like, it may not be your night every night, but I just want them to really lock in and defend, get that grit back.
Yeah. It's gonna be key. Now, Perk said that, which was factually accurate, that the minutes have been going down as of late for all of them collectively. But then he also noted that Tibbs mentioned in that press conference that he's matching up, essentially, in less words. Like he's matching up. So when the premier player is out there for the other team, he's putting Mikal, he's putting OG out there, and so on and so forth. I mean, what do you think about that? From I guess a coaching philosophy that he's like, yo, listen, if those guys are playing those minutes, I'm matching up to make sure I put my best guys out there.
I mean, it makes sense. It's more of like a playoff thing. It's all about the matchups, especially in the playoffs. I think it's more of a playoff thing. I think right now you got to be kind of looking at like, hey, if you want some of your bench players to get experience and get cooked by Shea, let them get cooked by Shea. Like it's all good. It's like it's a learning process.
Yeah.
It's your welcome to the NBA moment, So I think some of these guys need that. Pacome Dadier, Hope Porter. Like, why do we even draft these guys?
Kolek. Yeah,
Kolek. Exactly. Like, why do we even draft these guys if we're not going to play them? Just give away your draft picks like we did to get Mikal Bridges. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just like, just put them in the fire. This is the time to do it. As I said, we have nothing to lose. We dropped the 4. We still have home court advantage. We see the Cavs in the second round. Let's go. We're not trying to avoid anybody, but I'm just saying, like, that's the silver lining. Get your people ready because it's really a battle of attrition at the end of the day. There's going to be injuries from all sides, and so we just got to make sure next man up that we can have some confidence in them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Like, this is the time of year, especially for the younger players to get some playing time. I don't think they're even going to fall to 4. They're about 4 games up on the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks have a much harder schedule than the Knicks. Like, the Knicks are coming into a much lighter part of the schedule once they get back from Golden State. And, you know, we know Payne. We know what Payne is made of. Shamet, as you said, he is playing better, but I like to see Dadier get some more minutes, even though he's 18. He was projected to be more of a longer-term investment. But him, Kolick, Hukporti, even when he's healthy, because those are the guys, when you look at the limited resources that this team has to deal with within this championship window, those are the guys who you're going to have to hope can be long-term bench rotation pieces for you that can contribute. They're going to be crucial.
Or even build value.
Value.
Because if no one sees Tyler Kolick perform, he can't become like
can't trade him.
Emmanuel Quickly and, you know, RJ Barrett. Like, the reason why RJ Barrett got really, obviously he was 3rd pick. He should have, but he was thrown to the fire. He eventually got really good to the point that we could trade him and get a guy like OG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, but I don't want to go too deep into that. But ultimately, we gotta play these guys. And I think now is the time to do it. You know, I don't want to go back to the whole TJ Warren, but I know that guy's a bucket, and he's you know, he's the type of guy that you need on your team to come in and be able to, like, not have that drop offensively.
Yeah, great points there. And as I've always said, like, especially your younger players, you either have to know that, you know, are they helping us win games, or are they helping us, you know, achieve our goals, or are they going to help us get somebody better in here? And you're not going to know that until they actually get into a run and you can see what they're made of. So we'll see once those guys get their opportunity.